here we are, folks. And so Kingston and Licks had very solid seasons in golds. And they weren't able to win their groups, even though people thought they might do so. They make the playoffs. And so we had Licks, who was second place in his group, up against Kingston, who was third place in his group. May actually be swapping that in my mind. Apologies if I am. But the point is, second and third place players get that one final series. They play someone they've never played before from another group. Winner moves on to Platinum next season. We've got Licks. I'd actually love, and maybe chat could just remind me how many wins these players had this season. And I'll make sure for the future sets that I have that memorized ahead of time. But Licks has played really good this season, in my opinion. He's looked solid. Unfortunately, he just wasn't able to outwin Lewis, who won their group. But it looks like they both had 9 wins. Okay, sick. Yeah, 9 wins definitely puts you into that playoff threshold. Licks is a fan favorite. He's been around a very long time. Kingston, I wouldn't necessarily call him new generation, but somewhere in between. Like Kingston, his best year was maybe 2 years ago. I think people kind of assumed that that was a peak year for him and he wasn't going to be able to get back to that height. Someone said recently, I think it was Sato, Kingston he has no weaknesses, so he doesn't have a map that he is poor on. But he maybe just lacks like that elite skill on every map as well. So it's an interesting mix, right? Like Licks, on the other hand, I think he's really good on land maps, but the more water, the more walls that are incorporated, he may struggle a little bit. Kingston's good on them all. So as far as favorites go, kind of hard for me to choose. I'm thinking about the draft a little bit. I think we have a really good series on our hands. I think this should go to 5 games. And it's just a coin flip in my mind. I think I'm going to lean towards Kingston here today. I think Kingston's going to be platinum. I think Licks will be back in gold. Now, both players were in platinum in the past, if I recall. Licks I know was, because Licks had an amazing gold season, won his group, got promoted to platinum, and had one of the most frustrating seasons for me to watch ever in platinum. It was clear he didn't prepare at all. Maybe there was a lack of belief that he could do well. I don't know exactly what was going on, but I remember being so excited for him and then being so disappointed. I think he got like 1 win out of 15. But if he were to make it back, he's in really sharp form. I would expect him to be dangerous there. So Frank's Lithuanians. Franks love their scouts, which we can tend to see on this map. Franks also love their cheap castles, which can be great to secure the middle. And Franks also have a berry bonus, and there's extra berries on the map. It's actually a really nice pick here. We did not see Franks picked a lot in the earlier stages, but it's a best of 5 now. There's more bans on the draft, and there's more picks that need to happen. So we will see civs that we haven't seen as much in the playoffs. Lithuanians, I think we saw a couple more times. Speedy, Spears, and Skirms. Great scouts, great knights. You've got good options with this civ. I think this is a good matchup for the Lithuanians. And I definitely think I'd prefer the Lithuanians over the Franks. A double lumber camp from Licks. He'll be clicking up. And both players just pushing in their deer for the time being before they eventually move out. Really easy to assume what your opponent's going to do on this map with these civs. If Japanese was involved, if Malians was involved, even if it's Portuguese was involved. I mean, obviously, like a crazy one like Celts, you would assume Man-at-Arms, but there's just certain civs that you know can pull off the Man-at-Arm build without huge downsides. These civs, their eco is much better suited for what they're doing here, which will be scouts. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, and so we already know 4 players that are promoted to platinum. And then we'll have 3 best of 5s after this. 1 today, 2 tomorrow, to determine the other players that go platinum. And then the rest of the season is determining who gets relegated, who gets kicked out of their groups in platinum. We'll have 2 more weeks of platinum to determine that. As well as, of course, who wins those groups goes immediately to the quarterfinals. And then who goes playoffs there into the round of 12. So, but with platinum, we have the whole grand final build-up. So it doesn't just stop after 1 best of 5. And this is so common on this map. to see the archer range opening with Byzantines or Incas or Lithuanians. Faster spears and skirms, so not cheaper for Lix. And I'm sure Lix is expecting a stable, and Lix sees the stable as well. So, no big surprises. The eco should be super smooth here for Kingston. Like, getting free horse collar, having all the sheep, having the berries, there's no shortage of food income. It's like, what do you do, though? Like, fast spears and skirms is a problem. Looks a little rusty here at the start, gets housed. I think you want your own skirms to snipe the spears, and then the scouts do the rest of the job, ideally. That's what you're hoping for. But the micro needs to be really on point here. Mr. Boyce says, T90 Kingston Gold is worse than Lix. I mean, they're both kind of bad. So, yeah, I mean, Lix can build a little bit more in front of it, but I think it's ultimately you're going to see a tower on it either way. Lix will probably tower here, protects the wood behind it and the gold, and then Kingston's going to do the same, so it protects both. Fighting there from Kingston, and oh man, that was rough. See, any other Civ Spearman, and you have another half a second to react there, and Trash Rush comes forward. You just don't have an army to deal with this right away. It gets here so quickly, but tower's going up. Lix knows the tower will complete. Lix backs away. There's the tower from Lix. Kingston will be through, but there's a Spearman around, and Kingston won't even mess around with that. Just wants to conserve HP, and I think now he's going to direct his focus on this. Makes sense. Own skirms are coming back, bringing a spear. Scouts will maybe loot back home. So I'm actually a little surprised that Lix decided to go back here. I mean, it's Lix. He's known for wanting to make it messy, but you now might not be able to easily reinforce. What you can do, though, if you see your opponent's army is here, is you can just keep this army at bay, keep it in the back, and then an army will never hit you, right? I think we'll have another wave of trash heading forward for Lix here in a second. Sorry again for the occasional scroll wheel problems. I explained my scroll wheels being stupid. That's really good for Lix. This is really nice for him. The starting scout's giving him so much value. Just super annoying for Kingston to deal with. And look how fast the spears are. Like, normally spears have to be careful against skirms, but they're so fast. You can just get away from it all. So 3-1 KD for Lix, but I really like the flow of the game. And eventually, you can actually go scouts yourself here, too. Or you can go Castle Age. You've got lots of options. Kingston has to make the skirms to deal with the spears. It's the only real option he has at the moment. And then if you overmake skirms in this position, then the Lithuanians can go knights. It's really tough. I think Kingston is tired of giving this respect. And Lix didn't realize the spear was there, so he backs away. And now Kingston is here. But there's another wave now. And so do you go try and kill Vils when there's probably spearmen there? Or do you group up to finally try and kill this? Lix backs away. I think it just makes sense to make more army if you're Kingston. You can't let this... You can't let this snowball on your farms and on your berries. It would be lovely to get some Vil picks, so he's going to make Lix work a little bit. Sees that villager. Nice blocking here. That's really nice blocking. Body blocks it. Now needs to body block it the other direction. Oh, that's some skill right there from Kingston. That's so easy for that Vil just to get back to the TC or the tower. So he did that perfectly both times. It does get hit by the spear. And now this army is something he'll have to deal with. Maybe now you bring the scouts back home. He will be producing more. Dropping the range. Has quite a few skirms at home. So if you match the opponent's skirm numbers, things could be fine here. Those spearmen don't contribute too much. They're distractions, but they will die against these skirm numbers pretty quickly. And now Fletching's on the way here for Kingston. Wow, and 5 scouts now as well. Lix has, Lix just has 2 spears at home in separate positions, too. So I don't think Lix knows there's going to be that many scouts. Starting scout could also play a role here for Lix. Micro is going to be so important here. It's been good from Kingston so far. Again, I think this is like twice as hard to play right now as the Franks player. farms are coming up as he's finished the berries. Here comes the scouts. Do I have to start? Let me just test real quick and use the numbers on my keyboard. I may just use some of these to zoom in and out because my scroll wheel is pissing me off. It's probably not that big of an issue for you guys, but I keep bringing it up. You know it's a problem now because I keep saying it. There we go. Another villager exposed. Lix is on the way to Castle H, but that villager's likely to go down. I like that from Kingston. Your Frank scouts, it's just one spear. Take the kill, and then get the vill, and that's 2 villager kills. Lix's trash army didn't accomplish a lot with kills, but it invested Kingston deeper into the feudal age. Had to get fletching, obviously, and produce quite a few skirmishers here as well. But gotta say, a lot of Lix's army feels kind of useless right now. The skirms are going to go down, even though they're faster. The spearmen aren't very valuable back here. And if Kingston can use this moment to just bring the skirms forward, defensive spears won't be a good play for Lix. Remember, you can't wall on the rock terrain. So the skirms could still come in here to some of the wood line. You could still come over here to the berries and the farms. The villagers are actually just going to be fighting off the spears and the skirms. See, Kingston wanted to ignore this and bring these skirms forward as quickly as possible. This is well played from Lix. Lix is like, who said I don't get value from this army? Not me. Kills a vill. And also delays the villagers going to the berries as well. That's really annoying. But that's what Lix is good at. Lix is really good at setting the tone with the attacks and then controlling the game from there. And so 2 stables. The eco's not really there to make 2 stable knights long term, but you can get the first 2 knights out right away. And then, like we said, Kingston's skirms, if they get found by knights, they're going to die instantly. So that's not really adding a lot of value. Kingston 2 minutes away from Castle Age. May need some spears at home now. And that is the call. And scouts are still looking for some damage. This is Kingston, so that's a dead vill. No doubt in my mind that villager gets blocked. Villager gets blocked. Nice snipe. Kingston could maybe do it again. So what? 3 villager kills for Kingston, 1 for Lix. And again, those skirms can come in. Even if they're doing 1 damage per hit against a vill, that's still a lot to contribute with the scouts. And Lix is trying to go forward now. Lix doesn't want knights to defend from feudal age army. So scouts go through again. More body blocking from Kingston. Another villager gets sniped. So that's 4 villagers. But now Kingston needs to defend. And you can't wall the rock. So she goes down. The spearman goes down. More spearmen are going to be needed. The wood line's walled. The gold is kind of getting walled. But this is such a messy situation against this many knights. There's going to be a lot more knights coming as well from Lix. But Kingston spears enough just to hold on till he can make his own knights. The knights from Lix actually come this way. That actually could be good for Kingston, because those knights aren't coming into his eco. And Kingston's trying to focus down the enemy spears, use his own spears in defense. I think he's done a really nice job here. What a nice game. This is really close. It's been back and forth the whole way through. Lix did some nice damage here. Certainly forced a lot of idle time. It's killing all those skirms. Has lots of knights with Lithuanians, which is great. Already making monks as well to get relics, which is amazing. But Kingston has not been broken by this. And should have his own knights on the field. He's going cav archers. Well, I talked about it before the stream. We're in a cav archer meta right now. And he might not want to go knights against someone who's going to add monks and have stronger knights than him. I know it feels weird because long-term, Franks don't really have good cav archers. I actually think it's great for Castle Age. And a lot of the times, whatever happens in Castle Age plays a role in how this game goes anyways. I think these scouts need to stay active. He went back in for that vill pick. These scouts need to be active on where those relics are. And so Pike, Cav Archer. Well, the Lithuanians will suddenly need to be back into skirmishers then, right? That's the unit that they would want. There's still no full armor. Like, full armor is a long way away for these knights. So the CA can hit and run. I only get 60 HP on Frank Cav Archers, though. So it feels bad. And this also feels bad as well. That's a free monk. If Kingston just had another moment to think about it, that monk would have stayed in the monastery, and that monk would still be alive. I think pretty soon Licks will start dropping TCs. Yeah, I guess we can remove the charity commands, because the charity command is like 6 months old. Not that I'm anti-charity. I'm just saying that like that charity stream we did is super old. Fat Teddy, why are you going back into the basement of commands we have, dude? Yeah, now people think I hate charity. Just passing on the right side. Chatters will do that. They're like, "Ooh, there's a bunch of commands that aren't updated. Let's make sure the mods see it." There's like cobwebs on these commands. It's all right. Now we've deleted charity. Now everything is good again. Wow, knights are on the left and the right. I think protecting the relics, that seems to be the focus. And now the cav archers are here from Kingston. Guys, what a great game so far. This is super close. The pathing on the CA take them back in towards the monk. He's really fortunate not to lose a cav archer there. Oh my god, that quick wall from Kingston was crazy. Still needs to defend the gold, but there's monks. There's a monk here. But Licks just researched devotion. So Licks is properly raiding because he knows you can't wall on this map. Beautiful raids there from him. How many monks have gone down for Kingston so far? At least 2. And if these knights are saved up as well, they can get home. Plus 3 attack on the knights right now because of those 3 relics. Licks got those relics so quickly. And Licks is still really heavy on stone. We might see a castle in the middle. It was close for a while. But now with the amount of knights that Licks has on the field, with the amount of monks he has out in the field, with how much harassment he's been dishing out here, and then it's Frank cav archers. Not something you get excited about long term. I think this should be pretty good for Licks. That's a crazy TC, though. Kingston's actually walked to the middle of the TC there. Still only 9 cav archers, though. Like, you want 15 to 20 of them. You want the pikes with them. You want some monks mixed in. Kingston has to get to that point. Hard to do that when you know there's always armies lurking around from Licks, though. Does Licks know about the TC? He doesn't. So this is fairly new. But that could just be a castle drop target for him if he notices it. I think there's also relics he could still snag as well. There's the relic over here. There's also the relic over here. We might see a monk headed that way. That monk is actually hiding behind the blacksmith. He doesn't want to do it. It is a Saturday, so maybe he feels like he deserves a day off. All right, this is finally where Kingston's starting to group up his army together. This is where the army could actually be pretty strong. And I don't know if Licks has all the army ready in the middle to deal with this just yet. Now he'll know about the TC. He might still drop a siege workshop, but might need to back it up. If these pikes and cav archers advance forward right now, 4 knights and 1 cav archer is not enough for Licks to hold. That is a crazy army, though. And again, he'll see a monk. That should be a kill. That's smart from Kingston. He knew it was there, but he didn't want to start converting when he was too close because Licks didn't realize. Oh, now the micro's here. Plus 2 armors on the way for those knights. They'll be much stronger in a second. Knights still running around. There's pikes following. There's a monk following as well. Quick walls are needed on the wood line. This is intense. And now Licks' siege workshop complete. So I think that'll be a couple scorpions there. Kingston's micro is crazy, though. That's crazy good micro. Also, how does Kingston have more vills right now? He's so late to TCs compared to Licks. Impressive. Kingston's done a great job at managing just the 2 TCs that he has, and his army is up. What a great game, guys. Ballistics is on the way for those cav archers. He also adds his own siege workshop to flatten any scorpions. We'll snag this relic to keep that away from Licks. Licks is getting the relic on the left, though. So that will be 4 relics and plus 4 attack on the knights, and he's got 15. Yeah, Licks is like... He has the stone for the castle now, but I think he wants to wait just a little bit longer till all of his armies together and make one big push. See, these pikemen aren't in position for Kingston. He needs to bring those to the middle. There is a decent chance that Kingston could get an attack round on this castle, because this is Licks we're talking about. And so Licks is probably going to... He thinks this fight's going to be good enough where he can push it all back and drop the castle on the siege workshop and on the TC. So risky. but it would win you the game probably. One conversion in for Kingston. Still backing away. Still getting good shots. Another conversion for Kingston. The knight has the extra attack because it was Lix's. More conversions. Oh my god, what a hold from Kingston. Might need to delete these knights, honestly. Which he doesn't do. Look how weak these knights are right now. That's so good. Again, if you tried to go knights in this situation, you just get out-knighted. Pikemen have had some time to come to the middle. This is some quality play from Kingston. I am so impressed. It just felt inevitable when Lix dropped those town centers faster and had so many raids and has all these relics that this was going to be his game. But Kingston has made me think about it a little more. Where are all the knights for Lix? They're just dying. You don't get additional armor when you get the relics. And now Lix is dropping a defensive castle. Wow. Now, we should mention Kingston has 7 on food. So Kingston is not really focusing on balancing that eco. There's a lot of farms that have gone idle. But he has control of the middle. He holds for now. His own monks have been so valuable. And the cav archers have just been the clutch, a clutch move. But now, Lix's units will ignore armor. And just keep thinking, like, this is going to be a problem. Now, guys, this game's been perfect so far. I want to just show you the experience from Lix. He can fight the CA easily, right? And now, he has boxed out his opponent from coming into his base. So what does he instantly do? Counterattacks. That's so good. That is so smart. Now, I think on some level, Kingston should expect that. But then what do? Well, you'd have to leave the middle to go deal with that. So Kingston's going to need some pretty big quick walls here. He's completely chopped open this side. This stone is exposed too. I don't think Kingston has an understanding of what is happening right now. I like the siege beyond the wood line, though. That's good to pressure the wood. If Kingston's on point, we might see him react here, but there's so many different things he has to focus on. There's the knights. There's no way he reacts to that. No way he reacts to that in time. Lix gets some of the knights around the stone miners, so there's less time for reactions for Kingston, and now Kingston reacts. Now he walls, but there is a gap there, and the knights are just completely devastating Kingston's economy. And now, guys, Lix is bringing the new army with the Scorpions to go to the middle. So he's hoping that Kingston will leave. But Kingston's like, I will not leave with all my army. I know what you're going to do to me. And I will get conversions in defense. He gets the conversions. And he might actually be able to deny this. If he had a Mangonel right now, he could deny this. That's crazy from Kingston. How is Kingston still alive this game? He should be so dead. That's against Devotion, by the way. His conversions were perfect. His reactions were as good as you could possibly hope for. This castle's at 75%. If the castle goes up for Lix, it's still good for him, but it will not go up. Holy crap. Now, I mean, say goodbye to all your eco if you're Kingston, but you got to deny this castle. You cannot let this castle go up. There's also more knights coming. This gets really complicated. That castle will go up. What a game. I mean, what a sick game, dude. I love it from both. But at the end of the day, it was Lix realizing the counterattack needed to set up that opportunity. And now he's got a castle here. And this makes things so much more difficult for Kingston. And you can kind of, in some ways, chill here if you're Lix. You don't need... You have gold. Well, maybe not. Not if this castle goes up, but... You've got better food eco than your opponent. You've killed more vills. So you don't necessarily need to push like crazy, but you have the opportunity. This castle is interesting, though, because this castle will probably go up, and then it pushes Lix off of this gold. Lix could take this gold. But because he's making only knights and Latus, I'm wondering if he runs out of gold. How much gold does he have? He's got that gold there. That's it. So normally I'd say go imp. But can you actually go imp without gold? You'd have to sell. If the Vil count's even, I think Kingston wins this game. The difference in the Vil count's insane, though. But it's actually pretty close. Yeah, and Kingston's definitely aware. Like, this guy doesn't have gold right now. He also has good vision now, so when Lix tries this stuff, he'll see it again. Ah, and there's a TC from Licks. That's a good TC. That's a really good town center to place. And he can go imp. He can go imp. He sells off some stone even. He already has 2 castles here. He clicks. Yeah, this should be Licks' game. Because there's no way for Kingston to engage underneath these castles. And Trebs can deal with the castle from Kingston. Still, though, I think we're going to have a hell of a series here, guys. Because I was really impressed with Kingston. I think Licks has played kind of like a near-perfect game plan for Lithuanians. And made all the right calls. And I just kept expecting it to be GG. And Kingston held on. You maybe ram push the castle. Maybe that's your best play. But how are you supposed to ram push when there's Latus with +5 attack? This is just not the situation you want the Franks to be in, right? Making Cav Archers in Castle Age. That's just such a painful situation for the CA. Licks just keeps going to the right. The CA go over there, and then he goes to the left. Licks is just so good at controlling the game like this. This almost feels like... Licks' style here feels very similar to how Yo would play this, right? And they are pretty similar players. Yo, obviously, on a higher level. A lot of people think of Licks' reputation when it comes to team games and his messy style, and think that that's what he typically does, but he can play standard as well with the very best, and he wins the first game. Really good game, though. That was pretty epic, dude. I loved how the second that Licks got this castle up, or sorry, I guess it was the initial castle, he moved to the right. Like, that's an Age of Empires 2 masterpiece right there. That is just so sick. Like, I actually want to go back and just go through that bit by bit. Okay, so the second this castle's completed, he groups up his knights, and he's on the move. Because there's nothing these CA can do anymore. And then, obviously, if you just watched it, you saw it, but I just got to appreciate it again. Then the knights hit, and he knows, I'm doing damage here. Kingston has to react to this. I'm gonna set up my next play. And so he's ready. He's waiting for it. And as the second he sees Cav Archers, he goes. Now, like that's just so good. Now, what was impressive there is I'm expecting this just to be the game-ending move. And Kingston expected that, got the conversions, and actually almost denied the castle. So well played to him. But still, this castle definitely never goes up if Licks doesn't do the counterattack first. And Licks eventually completes the castle. And he had killed so many units with these knights that he had a massive eco lead. So, great game. Love to see Licks in this shape. I expect Kingston to bounce back. There's the difference in the eco there. And we'll move on to game 2. So, great first game. I expect another really good game here. Kingston played well despite having some downsides maybe to his position. And Licks, though, he did his best to set up his civilization and himself for success there. It was really good pick in the Lithuanians. I also just like the execution of it. Now, he's gone for the Magyars here. And Magyars are great if the map is played open. Great to play into scouts, knights, Cav Archers. Kind of similar to what Lithuanians can do, but they don't have an eco bonus anymore. But then Kingston's got the Japanese. And Japanese have the great spears against any Cav. They can also go for scouts themselves. And I think the big thing the Japanese want is they want their Cav Archers as well. So it's a bit of a weird one in the mid game. Usually it's all Cav Archers. But like, maybe not. Kingston does like to play crossbow a lot. And having Japanese gives you the edge in fighting for water because of the stronger fishing ships. And also you have the eco bonuses in Dark Age, which help you get there. So Japanese better economically. I think you can argue that the Magyars are better with military. But in Castle Age, Japanese Cav Archers do +2 damage against other Cav Archers. And Magyar Cav Archers, they mass 25% faster. So Magyars have to get the numbers. And then eventually in Imp, when recurve bow comes in, that's when Magyar Cav Archers are the stronger again because they get +1 range and +1 attack. But that's Imp. And obviously most of the game plays out before then, so. Are these matches being played live or from replays? This series is live. This is live. The next series will be Rex because there's other tournaments going on right now, and I mean, we don't have a lot of full-time players, so I think Kaz is like a nighttime nurse. So they weren't able to play live after this, so I think they played this morning at some point. Obviously, I have no clue what happened, but people seem to care on, is this live or is this recorded live? Pretty much the same at the end of the day, but I get the live feel. I think tomorrow we have 2 live sets to close out the playoffs. But I think it's really important on this map. Like, every single time I see someone stop prioritizing army control, they lose. You have to still have army control. You can't just fall back to walls. Yeah, okay, you can wall on this map, and I'm sure they'll be creative in playing defensive, but, like, you have to have scouts and spears and archers. If you're the player that's just reacting, you'll have problems at this level. But they played the whole freaking season. These are playoff players, so they should understand that at this point. Also, another cast where I see someone struggling with deers getting stuck on resources, but not on the edge of the map. So Kingston should be fine. There's the dock for Licks. Kingston got the dock up much earlier, which you would expect because of his bonuses. And also brought 2 vills. And got looms, so those vills should be safe. Deer everywhere, so they'll probably focus on pushing that and then go into scouts. Man King, thanks for the 7 months. I saw you earlier on in the countdown at the start of the stream. Thank you for that. Thank you, Sarahcast, for the 8. Apella, what's up? Thanks for the 13. Hello, Malcier. What's up, Jinska? Good morning. T90, is this dead? Asking for a friend. Is what dead? What? Is... I don't know. What is this? That's a very weird question. I must have missed something. Or maybe I was just talking about it like a minute ago and it's already left my mind. Oh, Dead vs. Live. Oh, man. See, if I made that joke, chat would just spam T90 dad and minus 7k. I'm just saying. I'm not seeing anybody do it. If I made the joke, though, it would be minus 7k and T90 dad. So just point that out, chat. I feel like this is a little unfair at the moment. Anyways, villagers headed over to wood. Couple more deer coming in. This will be scouts for Kingston, most likely. But he does like his archers. He's a really good archer player. What we might see him do is we might see him send 2 to gold and then a bunch to wood. Be careful, Kingston. I don't think you want to cram all your villagers into that wood line. Sometimes players will try and make them safe by putting them in the trees. Okay, see, how many do you want to put in there, though? Because they might block each other. I think that's fine. Yeah, that's actually really smart. You have 2 in one area, 2 over here, 2 over here. But yeah, if any civ would go to gold, it might be Japanese. Wow, Lix is up fast. Lix is up super fast. And Lix only made 1 fishing ship. So Lix will make a fire. Lix is not on gold to make an additional fire. Both can afford 1 fire, and that's it. But Lix is like, I'm Magyars, I have 1 job. And my job is to make scouts and destroy. And I like that. Like, why mess around and do anything else here if you're the Magyars? Ooh, TC got the hit. That's pretty nice for Kingston. He'll know what's coming as well. And that +1 attack shouldn't be enough to make a big difference in that fight now that the HP's lost. Fire Galley is out already. It's hard to kill Japanese fish. Kingston may not fight at all there. He's just focused here. And drops his own stable. And the stable was delayed for Lix. So he didn't make the scouts as quickly as I thought he would. Colim says, T90, there should be a playoff tournament for Gold League as well at the end. That would be cool, with some prize money for the ones already qualified. I mean, I think the way we have it structured makes the most sense, right? Because it's like, this, first off, from a time standpoint, the league's already going for such a long time. A demo? He's going for a demo on 1 fishing ship? Man, I hate that. Why not just make 1 fire, and then you can kill the opponent's fire and kill the opponent's fishing ship if you win the fight? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think we'd have the time. And also, the goal of golds Like, you're playing in gold to get promoted. But I guess in other sports that have promotion relegation, they might still have, like, the full-on champion, you know? It's maybe worth thinking about. Scouts are out. Kingston will see that. So, Licks and Kingston not fishing in the middle. That's kind of rare. Usually one person's won it by now. There's 500 food out there. And Kingston still hoping to play safe. So, it's 0 fishing economy for both in the middle. You have villagers on gold for Kingston, so I think he might eventually make a fire. And going for those walls. But like I said, I think you need to have walls in combination with still having offensive presence. That is a lot of walling, though, from Kingston. He does it every time he plays the map, though, from what I've seen. Magyar scouts get the snipe instantly. So, yeah, offensive presence, but what is that? 2 scouts? That's not going to be enough. Lots of wood for Kingston at the moment that he's really not spending, but I think he's about to with the farms. And he's about to with fires. So, I don't know how it took damage. Maybe it was to the demo, but this is 94 HP. So, Kingston should be able to kill this. And then Licks won't be able to make another fire because he's not heavy enough on gold yet. Maybe he'll have the timing to make another one soon. I like the sneakiness from Licks, though. He knows Kingston's going to be around here, so he goes the whole way around. Will Kingston notice this? Yeah, well, it seems like he's got spears everywhere. And maybe thinking about it, and wow, that's crazy reactions. Definitely knew, like, if Licks didn't show me his army on the front, he must be looping around. That is called knowing your opponent right there. You know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be 2 fires for Kingston. So he'll be patient, so he definitely wins water. And more quick walls from Kingston. The scouts are lurking around. But I still like this from Licks. Licks has made Kingston work really hard here. That's a lot of work. Just because Kingston's been able to do it doesn't mean it's easy. And that can take away from other things. Look at the amount of farms that Licks has at the moment. Licks also seems to have a spear in perfect position there. Licks also will have some archers moving forward now. All the scouts are going to group up. Now, Licks will start to lose water. We'll see if he fights back. Maybe not. Kingston immediately queues up fish, so he'll take what's left of that most likely. The fish are headed this way. And now that it's scouts and archers, the walls are not actually that big of a threat. I think a villager went down there. No. Scout went down. I'm really liking how Licks is playing this, guys. His openings have been super smooth. He's stuck to the game plan. He hasn't deviated from it. And the key for me so far with Licks is he's kept his army alive. He did the same. The spears and skirms just kind of lingered for a really long time. Eventually, Kingston ended up killing that in game 1. But then he got to Castle Age faster. And Kingston's adding his own archers. Kingston snagging, fletching. Kingston playing defense. Kingston will have fish, though. Just 2. But it's Japanese. And I get some people would make an argument for trying to kill the fish now if you're Licks. But I think this is all about land, man. Give them his fish. Kill on land. Get to Castle Age faster. Especially when the units are on the middle. A knight or 2 cav archers can all deal with the fish later on. So, nice snipe there from Kingston. He sniped an archer coming forward. That's what you can do with the scouts in that situation, is snipe the reinforcements. And Spearman... Ooh, okay, get a couple hits. But the archers for Licks will push the Spearman away, and Licks' eco balance is looking great. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself too much, but I don't think Kingston can lose this game. This is his home map. And if you lose this, you have to win 3 straight against Licks, who's playing amazing right now. I think that would be really difficult to do. This feels like an important one. Licks has been the offensive player this game. And Licks clicks up to Castle Age faster. And that's super important when we're talking about Cav Archer numbers, if that is what they go for. Just been clean. The farming eco's clean. The wood eco's clean. Playing confident as well. Like, not full walling. Now, not being walled could be an issue at some stage, but for now it's not. Kingston snipes an archer and defends. Kingston on the way to Castlate just slightly later here. And just like the previous game, resources collected is super close. Kingston wants the Vil kill. I can't see the Vil's HP. And she dies. That's worth it for Kingston. That's annoying for Licks. But now the opponent doesn't have scouts. I think Kingston could sneak, though. See, Kingston loves crossbow. So I think he'll open crossbow and then play into cav archers. But in theory, he could delete some of his walls on the right and sneak out this way, because Lix isn't walled. But he doesn't have the scouting to know that, and you're just kind of assuming people are walled. Lix is going to do that now. Scouting the open area there with the spear. And the best news for Lix possible is actually to see those archers there. You don't see those archers, you really start to freak out, and you think those archers are on the way to your base. Oh. Okay, that archer's going to be safe. That's one of those where he set the rally point here, and the direction from the range to this location takes the archer out of this side of the range, and it has to loop through the gate. Super annoying. Archers are on this side for Lix. He could have spotted that. Okay, I think Kingston spotted him, and Kingston's like, he's about to get upgrades. There's no better time for me. And Kingston will pounce. And that's a perfect find for Kingston. He wasn't even looking for this. He wanted to get damage. But he finds a great engagement. That's such a helpful find for him. Wow. Also over here, he has to defend now. But he makes it to Castle Age. He'll drop a university. He will hold. And so both players research crossbow. Actually, no. Lix canceled that in the final moments, which is smart. But there's going to be 14 crossbowmen for Kingston. Lix drops the TC. We'll start to mass the cav archers. But this is the weakest point for cav archers now. Those crossbowmen are really tough to deal with. And so I think Lix is doing the right thing here. I think understanding you can't just try and go CA into 14 crossbowmen is perfect. And that archer gets sniped. But he's going to instead opt for skirms here. Yeah, use the skirms. And then eventually, you're hoping you're in a better spot. And when you're on 2 TCs against 1 as well, you are going to be in the better position. But he doesn't have a lot of awareness of where the army's going to be for Kingston. Kingston might be able to see where Lix is, though. And those Japanese fishing ships don't really seem to care. Yeah, so is Kingston trying to intercept this army, or is he trying to avoid this army? Feels like it could be either. He's definitely trying to be sneaky. It's very crazy, though, because they're so close together, and he hasn't seen any of this. Like, he could break through here pretty easily. I think that's where the CA may go. He's dropping his second TC. And the crossbows have been spotted. Okay, so the fact that they're going back now tells me he's concerned. But he hasn't seen a skirm yet. This play is extremely high from both guys. This is so good, man. So clean. Just, it's probably going to go late as things stand. Lix scouts, finds the TC is there with the spearman. That's critical intel. Kingston now sees their skirms, which is important intel as well. Army from Lix looping around the outside. So he wants to go right back to this wood line. And Kingston, like, he knows the army isn't over here. He knows it's Lix. And so he's just double checking, man. Like, to double check that stuff and just be like, okay, don't want to overchop. How many times do we see an accidental overchop? So good. Inevitably, the army will arrive and still be a problem. Because there's cav archers in the group. And the light cav could break through the walls. But it gives him a couple extra seconds to react. Lix sees there's a siege workshop here, but now sees there's CA running into his base. Still has this army to try and do damage. We'll see if he can. Kingston has some work to do there. Lix wanted to deny the workshop. That won't happen. Lix has some work to do here. Ballistics isn't in for Kingston, by the way. They both actually click ballistics at the same time, and the CA make it through. Skirms will have to come over. There's a TC there, which Kingston has to avoid. So he'll take some damage, but not a lot, actually. And then he has his cav archers back here trying to chase this down. He really does not want to deal with this. It feels like he doesn't trust the crossbows anymore, so the crossbows might be the cleanup crew at home. I can't really tell. But beauty of cav archers is you can run in and out like that. And ballistics is just about to be in. Lix misclicked a deer there. So his units didn't move away, and he's not going to have any time to escape. Beautiful clear up from Kingston. Should be anyways. And he has the superior cav archers for now. And drops TC number 3. Wow, so these cav archers escape. The siege workshop is still there. Now, if it produces siege now, Lix is making knights. Guys, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. This makes me so happy. These games are so good. This is so clean, man. God, this is everything, man. The amount of times that I'm just... People don't take the moment seriously, and they're just blah, and they clearly don't prep, and they clearly don't care. That happens, okay? It's human nature. That happens. But this is incredible. This is what I live for. There was a small part of me this morning, Saturday morning, I'm drinking coffee, you know, my fiance's off work, and I'm just like, oh, it'd be good to be off, you know, and not be working on a weekend for once. But this isn't work, this is life. This is insane. Just don't tell my fiance I said that. I mean, 69 vills versus 66. Army counts dead even. So much to play for here. 3 TCs for both. Crazy army comps. And Lix just keeps coming, too. Now he's going to counterattack with skirms because his opponent is only using archers in defense. It's so good. Also really good from Kingston to try and leave. The deer blocked the way, though. Did the deer affect the pathing there? I think it might. Okay. What a TC spot from Kingston, though. And knowing Kingston, he's going to notice this. Yeah, he sees it. Of course he does. Of course he does. Of course. Because it's just near perfect right now. Now, I don't really know how this is going to swing, but I think this is really important for Lix. Because one thing you absolutely cannot do is you cannot go home with your siege if you're Kingston. That gives Lix all the initiative. So this is annoying. And this disrupts eco more than any cav archers ever could. I think what also is kind of tough for Kingston right now, you want to siege push this TC, but you probably don't want your siege parked next to the stable, but do you really have a choice? Knights will come out eventually. There's a counterattack from Lix here. This is the Lix special. Just counter, counter, counter. And I don't know where those vills are going, but they will be spotted potentially. Now the crossbows are in the back, and they sniped a monk. And the siege also got sniped at the same time by Lix. Guys, there's so much happening. There is a knight from Kingston. Now, no armor. So I don't think that knight's enough. It's a good thought, but you actually need armor. You actually need multiple knights. Lix will keep that army alive. You see what Lix just did? Like, Lix's counterattacks defended for him. It may be the best example of offense is the best form of defense. This is a fine engagement for Lix. Suddenly, like, Kingston has all these different things to deal with. This is annoying. He's just having to rely on micro, and Lix is like, I might be 10 years older than you, but I can do the same. This is a good fight. It's a really good fight. And so the siege workshop is being attacked by knights. More vills will come this way from Kingston, Lix to get some gold. And Kingston has lost control over this game. Amazing. Just so good. There are also times, I'll say, where I can see, like, I'll watch games, and I'll just be like, man, I could have done better than that. I won't say that, but I'm like, man, if I was in that position, I feel like I could have done better. This is a very clear instance. No way. No freaking way. No doubt in my mind. I would be completely dead, out of this game. Don't have the ability. Don't have the big brain of these two. These guys are playing incredible. And they both deserve platinum so much, man. Lix is just, he somehow got control over the game now, and Kingston is reacting non-stop. We got knights and skirms diving through. But Kingston's like, I'm not dead yet, T90. Don't count me out. These crossbows have found crazy value. These crossbows have killed over 20 units. They just keep showing up at the perfect time, and now Lix is going to drop a castle on 2 TCs from Kingston, and Kingston's army is back here. So similar to the other game, where he uses one army, Kingston has to react to it in the back of his base, and then there's a castle in a critical area. That is a crazy castle. You can take stone, you can take the golds, and sure, you lost your army in the back. Sure, you lost some units over here, but you can deal with those crossbows finally. That castle will take out 2 TCs. I think this is Lix's game, guys. Look at the eco setup for him. 4 town centers. Every TC has farms around it. Every TC is near a stone or a gold. And his army's superior now. Like, if he can get armor, he hasn't had armor on his knights the entire game against cav archers and crossbow. But if he can get that, continue to mix in the skirms as well, this is going to be deadly. And Kingston has to face the music here. Has to fight this while also having to respect the random units that Lix is probably going to send out of the castle. This castle is just insane. And I'm so excited to see Lix in Platinum if he can bring this performance. If he wins a series, right? If he wins a series, it's a best of 5. But man, is he playing strong right now. Because Kingston, I mean, Kingston still has a 15 villager lead. Kingston, the KD's super even. It's just so clean from Lix to gain these leads. So creative to gain the leads. And guys, there really hasn't been a single moment of like jaw-dropping micro from Lix. It's just positioning and good overall play and game understanding, honestly. I bet you, like, let's look at the APM here for just a hot second. Yeah, I mean, he's way slower than the other guy, it seems like. Still fast. I think Wheelbarrow just got denied in that TC. Smart from Kingston to try and research Wheelbarrow there. Because that's definitely not a TC you want to produce out of. Knights, skirms. Lix is just so comfortable in this position. This will be relic number 3. He hasn't had to face up against any type of counter over the last few moments. He knows he has control over this one now. And +2 armor's in on the knights. So it's +2 attack. It's +2 armor. Who cares if you lose your knights to trade for vill kills? That's a lot of vill kills. And that's also just a ton of focus for Kingston on this area when he can't focus on anything else. And Lix forces Kingston to tap out. And another amazing game there. That is just so good. Man, you know, I'd love to think back and tell you what Kingston could do a little bit differently here, but it's very hard for me to think of something. I mean, it feels like his crossbowmen did good damage. They didn't do damage in the traditional way. Typically, they do damage in early castle. He kind of kept them alive and kept coming back with them, which I guess was good. His vill count was good. It felt as though once Lix counterattacked with his skirms, the whole game became a mess for him. Because he was Siege Workshop on the front, and he's heavy archers. Now, he could deal with skirms on the front because he had Siege. But Lix just said, nope, I'll go to your base. And then Kingston couldn't do anything against the skirms. He ended up bringing his cav archers back, because that's all he had. He produced 1 knight. Which, again, just instinctively makes sense, but isn't enough if you don't have the upgrades and the commitment. And then, in that moment, cleared up the forward siege. And then immediately after, army's still getting cleared up in the back, drop the castle. Like, and Bubble Wizard in chat says, I think I perhaps underestimated Lix because I think of him as a team game specialist, but he is playing like an absolute beast here. Yeah, this is the thing, guys. Lix, when he has to in team games, when he has in the past, he can be the setup guy, and he can just play messy, and he can just play annoying. But Lix is, and he can be a meta player as well if he needs to be, and that's exactly what he's been. Just so sharp, man. Some of the best Age of Empires I've seen from Lix in a long time. And now he's 1 win away from Platinum. Game 3, I've said so much good about Lix. Lix has played great, but this is not the map that I would expect him to necessarily play great on. Now, I've got a little prediction here. Because Lix is always going to have conversations with Yo I am going to predict right off the bat that Lix is going to go Castle Age Chemistry, Hand Cannons, and Mangonels. I predict a bit of an all-in here. And I think Kingston is going to boom. I think Kingston is going to aim to get the relics. And there's some other fascinating things about this map, but I don't have the time for that because I really got to use the restroom. So my chat is going to explain with some in-depth analysis what these two civs are capable of, what you need to focus on Dong, and what there is to expect. So YouTube, prepare to be informed. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So what insights did my chat give? Someone said, who has the bigger dong? Let's find out. Well, that wasn't very insightful. Auto Scout is the way. Someone predicts Cav Archers. Sheep ASMR. Someone says, love the commentary today. Finally. Okay, that's mean. Yeah, guys, you didn't really do a good job. Unless I missed all the insightful stuff. Why are we talking about how Burgundians can be the better economic civ and how the traditional flow of the map is best for them because they typically are going to want stable units to control the relics and have the early eco upgrades? None of that? I guess it's my job. But yeah, so what you can do, and Double BitX is already in here for Kingston, is you could chop through much faster here, and you could actually get these relics in Dark Age. So you can only produce the priests from the shrine. There's 75 gold, but you cannot put the relics in here. So I'm wondering if one of these players is going to focus on that. See, like, this doesn't seem like they're intentionally focusing down the trees. It's also 150 wood, by the way. Here's an extra fun fact about maps like this. If you build your lumber camp one tile further back, which no one will ever do for efficiency, you can fit 3 villagers on one tree, and then 2 villagers on the next. So you could be through that much faster. But I don't think being through that much faster actually is that beneficial. So I don't know if we'll see players do that. But 2-0 for Lix. Also, by the way, so I leave my office, right? And the bathroom's like right in the room next to it. And like right in the hallway is Lorena. And she's dressed as a Viking. She's going to like a Renaissance thing. There's like different themes. And she's testing out her costumes for that stuff. It terrified me. She had like an axe in her hand. She like all this gear on. I mean, it looked amazing. But yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting to see when I left my room here. She heard the comment earlier. Yeah, she heard the comment earlier and was ready to go. So yeah, I think I'm going. I should know if I'm going. I think I'm going to one of the weekends, but I don't know. I mean, guys, it's me, so I'm not gonna go as all out on that stuff. Last time we did Pirates weekend, and I drank like a pirate. I had a costume, but it wasn't very comfortable. It was like late March, and it was like the hottest late March Florida's ever had. It was so hot and sticky. Ugh. So hopefully whenever I go, I forget what it is, but I am going to go, and I'll keep you guys updated on whatever the weekend is or something. So T90, can you please explain to us why the map is named Zong? Okay, this might feel like a weird thing to Google, but I think if you search for Zong on the internet, it's actually a real place or a type of architecture or something. So just make sure you have the Z, and I'm pretty certain that something's going to come up because I think this is based on a place. It's not just like some random name that someone came up with just so Twitch chatters could be immature. It's in Tibet. Okay. Or Bhutan or... Okay, yeah. So just, you can go search that. I don't actually have the full history of it memorized. Oh, here we go. Okay, Zong architecture is used for Zongs. Okay, very, very helpful. A distinctive type of fortified monastery. Architecture found mainly in Bhutan and Tibet. The architecture is massive in style with towering exterior walls surrounding a complex of courtyards, temples, administrative offices, and monks' accommodations. So would these be the accommodations? No, those probably would just be like statues of some kinds. I don't know where the accommodations would be found, but that would maybe be inside the walls. Yeah. So yeah, there's your little history lesson, guys. Totally knew all that. Thank you, Max State, for the 3 months. Kipper, appreciate the 17. Hockey Rules, thank you. We don't have any priests out on the map yet. Guys, I called it 10 seconds into the freaking game what Lix is going to do. He's not going to make an archer here. He's going all in Castle Age hand cannons. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. He would need chemistry. You go for chemistry. That's 300 food, 200 gold, so that's pricey. But this is the only civ that can make those units or hand cannons in Castle Age, and it's really strong. And we saw a game that MBL played. He was like 30 or 40 villagers behind, but the opponent just couldn't compete. But, I mean, Kingston, if I think of it, okay, in Dark Age, I think Kingston should probably be on his mind as well, which then begs the question, it's like, what do you make? Well, the problem is, you're probably going to need to make skirms or something, but even that's tough if mangonels are combined. It is, that combination, there is pretty much no stopping it, except for outproducing it. It's tough. And also, Burgundians, there's lots of reasons to have scouts on the map. Burgundians are really good at that, so you don't really want to like change your whole plan until you know what your opponent's going to do. But that is 100% what we're going to see. 100%. Sometimes you kind of suspect something, but until you know, you don't want to change your plan. That's probably the case here. Because if your opponent were to just go scouts and you, I don't know, open skirms, that would be really bad, right? And then you just look like a fool. And then the casters are like, why are you going for that? That doesn't make any sense. So there's the scouting. Lix didn't actually find this relic yet. Lix is going to be on the way with that old priest. Capture H calls it a monk, but it's actually a priest. Capture H just isn't set up for this. Scouts and spears being active on the map. There's the priest for Kingston. And he got hit. But he's about to wallow that spearman, so Lix needs to back away. Chemistry's on the way. Score just got really low for Lix. I wonder if that tells you something. It's uncommon for the score difference to be that. That could be sinking 500 resources into chemistry. And there's the other range. Yeah, this is all in. I also remember a old Titans League game where we saw, I think, ACCM, and there was definitely another player that did it, but I forget who, go for siege towers. Anyone remember that? So you go like 10 hand cannons for map control, you add a siege workshop, and you actually siege tower over and into their base, because they just won't have an answer. It's actually really sick. I think it's better than mangonels, honestly. We'll see what happens. So far, no indicators for Kingston. Kingston's just living the dream with the scouts. I say dream, but he didn't scout that relic in time, so that's going to be one free relic for Lix. And now chemistry is completed and the hand cannons are on the way. So you see how the score just went up when chemistry completed as well? There's like this period of time where the opponent doesn't have as much score, and then the score evens out a little. Certain players look at that more than others. I'm really bad at that, but like some players are like, oh my... Some players make wrong calls because of score jumping. MBL all the time is like, he must be up because his score's gone up or something. And to be honest, usually he gets it right. Okay, now you see it. Now you see it. But now you see it and you've committed to 4 TCs. So your eco, you're full eco here. You're full eco and scouts. You're not in a position to necessarily go skirms. But maybe you need the extra greed against this. Maybe you need to delay the hand cannons. There's a priest getting relic number 4. Maybe you need to move the relics back as well. I think that would be smart. You don't want your church with the relics on the front. I do like how this eco is kind of spread out and away from where the push could be. Lix is bringing Vils. And that will be for a siege workshop. Imagine if he goes siege tower. I think you just go mangonels because you need to be able to take down the buildings too. The mangonels have more utility. But here we go. 32 Vils versus 41. All in hand cannons from Lix. He wins this. He goes to platinum. I really would have expected this to go to 5. I mean, many people expected Kingston would actually win this. And that Lix is old news, but... Alright, relics are in there. Priest is dead. And that gate's going to be down before you know it. This is really solid. Rams! Okay. Oh, so Rams don't help you against incoming skirms. But they help you get through the gate faster before the skirms are made, and then you can still make mangonels. So I don't hate it. You definitely can't give up any units to conversions here. Can't take that risk. I would be so dead if I'm Kingston here. More Rams? He's going for 2 Rams? Okay. Vils into the Ram. That's where I would want to be if I were a Vil. Well, I mean, I would want to be back at home, but if I couldn't be home, that would be my home. Okay, hand cannons get converted. There's another Ram now to join the party. Lix is all in, down 30 Vils. Loom coming in for Kingston. He's terrified. You kill this army once, it's over. But if the army gets incredible value and just destroys you before you're prepared for it, then this can work. And so far, it's working really well. There's the skirms for Kingston. But you see, since he's booming, he doesn't really have the resources to get upgrades. He's still missing blacksmith upgrades. Did he not build? Oh, he didn't build a blacksmith. He went market stable. Okay, there's a blacksmith down here. But the blacksmith is late because he went market stable for flexibility. I mean, the relics being on the front doesn't feel good. But at the end of the day, relics don't decide this game. It's all about the Vil count now. And there goes... There goes Lix to take that relic home. We'll see if he makes it. There is a scout around. But we'll see if Kingston can keep his TCs up. I just don't think... He doesn't have enough. Like, you finally get to Elite Skirm, and there's still more hand cannons. Hand cannons still kill these fast. And then there's the Mangonel. I think this strategy is absolutely busted, honestly. I think more people need to do it. This is so good. Mangonel hops out. That gets sniped immediately by the hand cannons. Like, these are Imperial Age units. There's a reason that no other Civ could get that until an Imp and after Chemistry. I mean, best of luck. Lix has also brought the Vils. He can repair the Rams. He's not giving any time to Kingston here. Kingston's getting ballistics, but Kingston's under pressure. He's under a lot of pressure right now. And Lix is just 1 TC, so Lix can focus fully on the push. Kingston will take out 2 of the Rams. That's good, but the TC can't be garrisoned anymore. And the skirms here need to dodge the Mangonel. He's doing that, but the Vils are getting slaughtered. The Vils are repairing, but the Ram goes down, and he's back inside the TC. Okay. Vils are still there. Hand cannons are still here. This group of hand cannons has 31 kills. And now Bodkin's on the way, which Kingston was missing. But now your eco's just in shambles. He's got so many idols. Now, you can pick off the reinforcements here. That's smart. I like that. That makes it a little bit easier to face. I think what he really would have needed was the siege workshop to be in a better position, but he didn't have the space for that. It made sense before when he placed this. Can he land a big shot, maybe? I'd say it's kind of unlikely because Lix notices this. This is also why I would have wanted Lix to not go for multiple Rams and just go for Mangonels. If he has 3 or 4 Mangonels, the TC's down anyways, and the skirms can't get anywhere close. But I like the energy anyways. We're about to have a sweep to platinum here, guys. Lix is just diving. Lix is sending it. Is that the correct play? To just stand underneath the TC like this. Monk goes down. Another Ram goes down. I swear, if Lix loses this game, it's because he went Rams. Kingston holds. Kingston holds. He's killing off some of the hand cannons. He kills off that mangonel. Kingston holding. Wow, man. And maybe if he has a little bit of time to breathe, you can add a couple more farms out here. This is where your food eco needs to be. Again, the first ram's good. But you got to stop with the rams. He's going for more rams. Can't help himself. I don't know. This does not get easier for Kingston. I mean, he has a moment to breathe, but this is still really brutal. Licks could maybe start to drop more town centers as well, by the way. Licks could now start to shift focus onto getting the relics and just, like, having a normal game. Maybe. Drop the second TC. Maybe this has a reset. Goes to the Imperial Age for both. This is great from Kingston. All these hand cannons and the monks are just going to run right through the middle. So you camp those skirms there, and then you can focus on this. But Licks is micro. Boom. Mangonel one shot. And there's now not enough skirms at home. Yeah, so skirms are a counter unit, but they also just get countered if they get hit. Because it's 18 damage. Or 17, sorry. Love that from Kingston, though. I like how Lix's problem solving is just build a forward archer range. Oh my god! What a shot from Kingston! I was not expecting that to be possible, and neither was Lix. Kingston putting up an absolute god-tier fight right now. Doing everything he can. He knows those hand cannons are weak. He knows his opponent's eco is much weaker than his. And now Lix is going to be left with 5 hand cannons, 3 rams, a mangonel, and a scorpion, which is like the start of a really stupid bar joke. And he's going to lose it all. He's going to lose it all to villagers and skirms and the mangonel. Mangonels would be so much more helpful than rams here. Everything's coming home from Kingston, and Kingston's actually going to hold on here. Wow. I mean, let's see. He could maybe reclaim his relics. He still has a 15 villager lead. These hand cannons have been pricey for Lix. Kingston did kill 4 of his own villagers, which we'll excuse him for, I guess. And, I mean, the range is still there. Oh, God. Kingston killed 2 more of his own vills. But he'll hold, I think. And he now with this many TCs as well, and he could finally start to look at them, he could gain like a 30 or 40 villager lead very quickly. I think the strat was fantastic from Lix. I think Kingston's hold was beyond impressive. And also, I think just the rams, you know. I know it's kind of sad. He wants to destroy his opponent's base, and people are like, aren't rams supposed to do that? Yeah, but that's all they do. That's all they're capable of. And mangonels at least can destroy buildings solid enough. A bit slower, sure, but they have tons of utility against the opponent's siege and the opponent's skirms. And maybe one of those things that, since Lix doesn't have experience doing this himself, since he's seen other people do it, he needed to get this experience so he learns that. Lix still only 15 vills behind. The mangonel goes down. More vills are going to die. But the range is down. The siege workshop could be down soon. And Kingston is able to get the relics back, maybe. Oh, man, scorpions now. What? Do you hate mangonels? What did mangonels do to you? Now you have scorpions against enemy mangonels, and they're just all going to die. Lix! What are you expecting to happen there? I mean, the scorpions do get some decent hits. And now he's queuing up a mangonel as the siege workshop's about to go down. Hello, Lix. Are you out of gold in your base right now, sir? Guys, he might be out of gold in his base. He's out of gold! He spent all of his golds! And then he had to delete his TC foundation, and he calls the GG. He spent all of his gold on the 62 hand cannons, the 8 rams, and the 8 scorpions. Notice, it doesn't say 8 mangonels. And the only place he could get gold at this point is in the middle. That's crazy. And what a hold from Kingston. I thought Kingston was dead. I was worried for the day's schedule because it was about to be a sweep. What a game. What a game. Now, I think with some slight tweaks there, I think Kingston still dies. I really do. I stated I like the first ram. If that's 7 mangonels after that, I just don't see how Kingston survives. The skirms wouldn't be able to have as much action. I think the TCs go down. I think the strat was great from Licks, but he just missed the final steps. But guys, there's pressure here, right? There's nerves. You're going to platinum if you win here. And so you got to fight through that. And sometimes things aren't as clean as maybe the first 2 games were. And well played from Kingston to hold on. I think the outer eco is actually a big aspect of his success here. Having those vills be safe, thinking about expanding early was great. Early ballistics, too, is all just fantastic. And we still have ourselves a series. And maybe Kingston can bring it back. I mean, the first 2 games were close. Licks maybe used some of his most comfortable civilizations as well. There's the difference in res collected. Imagine if Licks loses this series now. If Kingston brings this back, it'll keep me up at night thinking about those Rams. Hopefully that won't be the case. We'll see. All right, so potentially the comeback here for Kingston. That hold was fantastic in the previous game. He's now got the Tatars on a map that has a gigantic hill. If any map was designed for Tatars, it might be Kilimanjaro. Tatars do more damage when fighting on top of hills. They get more food from their sheep, and there's a shortage of food on the map. So it feels like it's perfect for them. I like the pick. Mayans, though, they like their walls. They like their archers. And you typically see a lot of archers. You typically see a decent amount of walls at the start on Kilimanjaro. So good pick as well for Licks. Mayans also get the additional Vill. Their resources last a bit longer, which is helpful when you're not going to have a lot of resources where you start. All these things could be huge for him. But I like the civs remaining for Kingston. If he wins this game, I think we'll have Persians on Acropolis. And it'll be Persians versus Malians or Persians versus Incas. I'm not sure which. But I think I would definitely prefer Persians. Persians are top 3 on Acropolis, in my opinion. So the reverse sweep could be possible here. You lose this series, you're back in gold next season. That's still good. That's still fantastic. You still got good prize pool this season and had a good showing. But you win, you move up to platinum where there's a lot more money involved and potentially could take the whole thing. So the way it's structured really is even the poor performing players in platinum should be getting a lot of money, right? We don't want a situation where people are incentivized to be in the lower leagues. So it's hard to structure that when we quote unquote only have 50K. But we have like $33,000 in, it's 33K in plat in total, 17.5K in gold in total. And then we ended up putting like 1,500 or 2K into silver. So that was just for the people who didn't like win. Obviously, silver's not as a league as much as it is a qualifier for gold. Now, golds are super far forward here for Kingston. This is rough. Like, he loses map control. Good luck. But it's not great for Licks either. And it's right below a hill, right against the Tatars as well. Now, does Licks know about this gold? Okay, so that gold's kind of safe. He also has this freebie in the corner. But I guess his corner just spawns some neutral res. You'll get that. You look here, you look here, you look here. That's just all around the map. There's no extra golden stone there. I think odds are that Licks will never find that in the early game. Not to mention that's a lot of walling. But even if this just becomes a crossbow war, Tatars get thumb ring for free. Plus they're doing more damage on top of the hill. So I actually think they could be really good for Tatars. In other Civ matchups, I would say Tatars want to get to Cav Archers. But I think that could be tricky. Because Mayans might go like triple, quadruple range. I think it may be an opening of Scouts. And Licks gets 2 hits there on the Scout. He's going to go Archers. And if Kingston just keeps coming this way, he'll see the gold. That's actually huge that he knows that. Because you're worried about a Barracks right now, and you're worried about a Drush, and at Arms. This tells you immediately this is just an Archer opening. Also kind of crazy that Licks is going to do that. That means he hasn't placed a mill on the Shorefish or the berries yet. But if he can click up... Wow, this is crazy. Not taking the fast food income and still being able to click up this fast. That's really good. Bit of idle time, but still. Kingston on the shorefish. Kingston also missed these sheep. So he does get extra food income on his sheep, but missing these for now kind of hurts. So he might notice them. Yeah, he might miss them, actually. He's just trying to wedge those vills into the woodline for a lumber camp. I don't know if he'll ever go back there. It's a funny situation, though. If Lix were to find them, and Lix isn't finding him at all. If Lix were to find them, Lix, what do? Do you leave them there? Like, I think leaving them in the exact same position gives you the greatest chance that they don't find them. Where normally you would run, steal them. Yeah, so Kingston scouted earlier, and he found it. And Lix, just because I guess they're off-center, Lix is like, huh? Hold on a second. He must be over here. But that's not the case. But Lix isn't going for any militia or man-at-arms. So not knowing that right now isn't the worst deal. And there's Kingston. I feel like the barracks he just canceled was at a pretty high percentage. Am I wrong? Capture Age wouldn't let me click it, but okay. I actually think I just realized the bug I've been having with Capture Age. Because it wouldn't let me select the initial barracks when the new one... I guess because in the past it knew it was deleted. I had an issue with the TC. Anyway, it's not important. I can talk to Capture Age about that. Occasionally, I cannot select TCs random points in Capture Age games. I think it might have something to do with if a TC was deleted and replaced or something. So there's the stable. Lix will see that. No shocker. No surprise. This could be good opportunity for Lix, though. He knows it's scouts. Maybe go forward with an archer, a spearman, that eagle. Try and get into the woodline or something. It's a pretty big deal Kingston doesn't have those sheep. He's soon going to run out of food underneath his TC. He still has the berries. He still has the shorefish, which will run out soon. But like the idea of having Tatars is you can go for the second range fast because you don't need farms. You're going to need farms in that mill so much faster. I wonder if he's coming home looking for them. It'd be pretty crazy if he does that. I think he's more so here because he's expecting the army. This is a shocker. Someone in my chat that has Mayans in their name seems to think Mayans are overpowered. I like that. Wouldn't have expected anything less. Scouts see the eagle and weaken the eagle, which is nice, and might even be able to confidently get over to that archer. Lix has to be careful. Now Lix sees the range, and so knows there will be skirms out as well. So now this is where this initial attack kind of will run out of steam. And nice job from Kingston. Couple walls. Patience with the skirms. Has enough eco to transition into the farms with the berries too. This is really well played. I was concerned. Obviously could be better with the sheep. But now Lix is walled. So, like, all that threat has given Lix the time to just full wall his base. Kingston could full wall as well. But he wasn't able, like, he can't easily wall in front of that gold. Lix built all of his buildings out in front of that gold right away. And Kingston now might be up against the classic Lix of sneak archers, full walls. Now you have to track. You don't want to overmake army and be later to Castle Age because you can struggle there. But if you undermake army and he sneaks into your base, you could have problems. I actually hate these walls. I think he's doing it because he already pre-walled here before, but I would have liked the walls to go to the edge. But just a little bit of pressure, poking and prodding from Lix made Kingston build up here. Saint Thicolis. What's up? Saint Thicolis. I don't think I've ever read your name before. That's funny, man. There's the army from Lix. So you're like, okay, Lix is walled. Mayans want to go Castle Age, right? So I think he's just going to play passive here. And then Lix is already moving out. He's produced eagles. He's got the archers. And he just completely surprises Kingston. And that's such a bad position. Kingston doesn't have any upgrades on his skirms. They were already going to struggle. And that is just horrible on so many levels. I think, look, he expected Lix to play passive. He was going to tower. Obviously has to win. Or he's just back in gold next season and doesn't advance to playoffs. Now, I don't even know what you do with these vills. They go do something else. And maybe you could still tower. Maybe he'll try behind the wood line. It just feels like it was just an incorrect call. An incorrect read. And it's not like Lix sat back for that long. It was just the fact that it's Lix. And that Lix was Mayans with walls. Just think Kingston maybe could have had his scouts in different positions, but it's so tough to know. He is still going to tower. I mean, you just feel super far behind right now because you know that Lix is going to be in Castle Age faster. Oh, man, Kingston, you're not even fully walled here, bro. What is this? I think Lix is going to assume he is. You're always walled if your opponent thinks you're walled. There's the tower. There's a couple houses. Lix sold his stone. So Lix didn't notice that. Or if he did, he's not worried. But this could get messy. Lix can't counter tower. And the skirms are here from Kingston to defend. And Lix thinks that's walled. So Lix will run away. I mean, Lix doesn't need the food anymore. And Lix can move to the other wood line too. So that's kind of okay for Lix. Still no reaction though. Do pros not click into the base? Sometimes you just don't. Because you don't want to get trapped in the back corner. So you don't want to click back there because you're assuming there's going to be a wall and then you're just going to be stuck. So sometimes you don't. Because if you do and the opponent is walled, which is usually the case, your army's out of position. Obviously, it can be really frustrating from a spectator point of view. But you just can't think about things in the same way when you're in a game. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe the forward tower ends up giving Lix some problems here. Certainly, it's going to change Lix's focus a little bit for now. Maybe Lix would have been fully focused on the front more. But Kingston just... Oh, man. I mean, look at all the stone and gold in the front. He has had no control this whole game. So, he was never able to wall in any of this. He is on stone for another tower. And, okay, I mean... This is starting to get a little dangerous as far as farm space is concerned for Lix. And if Kingston can kill off those archers, it might be eagles that's the bigger problem. But still, if you could maybe kill off some of those archers, who knows? I love how Lix has produced this many eagles, though. He really ramped up production there. Kingston was not expecting it. And now, now the skirm... Well, Kingston knows the skirms are dead. So that's why he's running through the eagles, actually. He just wants to kill every last archer he can find. And, well, good luck with that. Lix is not going to give you that opportunity. Lix is Siege Workshop now. Very little on food, but you don't actually need that much food income to produce eagles. If he has a market, he could always buy food. Kingston will kill some archers, but there's 9 eagles on the field. He still hasn't clicked Castle Age. It has just been... It's been all Lix, man. Like, Kingston's early feudal was so weak. Like, what was he doing with his initial scouts compared to previous games? He was chasing the spears and the eagle. What he wasn't doing is he wasn't stopping any walls. It's not like Lix walled right away. And now the vills here are exposed. I think you have to run with them. You can't keep them walled in. You just can't. You got to get out of here. There's still archers here. These vills are dead, and Kingston calls the GG. Lix back to platinum. Could have been the 3-0. Could have been the 3-0. I mean, the previous game was really good from him as well. And Lix just looked super solid today. This game, unfortunately, not the closest. Not the best performance from Kingston compared to the previous ones. But, man, guys, if you watch the first and second game, those games were crazy back and forth. It was really close. But Lix was just able to find ways to take control, even if he was behind. That was really well played. Kingston just had big problems. He didn't find his sheep. I don't know. Maybe he was pushing deer. Maybe he assumed they were stolen. Never had many scouts on the field to deny any walls whatsoever. The base buildup from Licks incorporated the forward res. Licks just had control this game. So Kingston will be back in gold next season, and Licks gets promoted up to platinum. Last time he was in platinum, he was really shaky. It didn't look like he had any belief. It didn't look like he had any interest in being there. So I'm hoping when that season rolls around that he'll be good to go.